The card and ball routine I created over 25 years ago, and it's actually been about 20 years since I've done it. But I did want to include it here because there's some different kind of things and some moves you don't get to see normally. There's a few things that you require. First, one single pack of fanning cards. The cards that I use are the old Harry Stanley cards from Unique Magic, but there's so many different fanning decks that'll work absolutely perfectly for this. There is one gimmicked card here, and this idea is based on something that Tommy Wonder did, and it's in his book. It's called The Recalcitrant Cards. And it's a series of events where he takes a pack of cards out of a box, the box disappears, the fan of cards becomes the box, there's a transposition back and forth. It's a fairly long and beautiful routine. But it was more than I wanted, and I just wanted to be able to change a card case to a card fan visibly. There are methods in print to do it by waving the fan over the case of cards, and there's a great one in Unconventional Magic by Louis Ganson that's actually credited to Ken Brook. But I wanted one that was visual and self-contained. And so what I did was I created an acrobatic card that basically is a spring flap card that allows you to show the card case, and when you leave it go, it turns to a card back. And I'm going to show the construction of that card right now. Okay, so now you've got your gaffed card, and you take about half of the pack of fanning cards and you cock the gimmick, and you have to take a small elastic band and place it around so it holds it in place. Now, the elastic band that I use is actually made from a dressmaker's elastic. It's like this, very springy, and you cut a small piece and you tie it off into a loop that you put around the pack. Now, when I do that, I want to make sure that the knot is at the rear of the box, and when I hold the box, that is on my on the right side, so that I can knock it off with my little finger by just hitting the knot. And you add the other half of the pack to the bottom of this, and this is placed in the holder in the box. Now, the holder that I have in the box is just a poker-sized box. These are bridge-sized cards. It's a poker-sized box that I have taped in the box, so it keeps them all squared in position right in here. So when it comes time to the routine, I actually work it from the other side of the table. But if I were to do it here, I would just come over like this and mime opening the flap of the box and shaking out the cards. Now, you have that elastic band there that it allows you to do that. You mime taking the cards out, and as you fan these cards, you knock that elastic off with the little finger, and it drops to the floor. It's pretty unseen because it's in the action of the big motion covering that little action. And I reposition these cards slightly so that I can have a firm grasp and control over that spring flap. And I look into the box as if I'm going to put the cards in there, but then I think about it a second time and wave this, and I just release the flap, change finger positions, and fan the cards. And now I put the card fans together, and I do a single card fan and take off the back card, which is the gaff, and I make a stroking motion like this, and I toss the card aside. So now you're left with a straight fanning pack. And the first move that I do, because the cards are here, I actually do a bottom cop of half the deck as I lift these off. And what that is, basically, is just grabbing half the deck. It doesn't matter how close it is to half the pack, and coming forward, and these are just held in this position very naturally. Okay, and it's as you're fanning over here, now you're looking over here. From the back, all that's happening is I'm repositioning those cards and doing a one-hand fan and bringing them down like this. I put all the cards together, and now I'm going to do a move that I've got to steal half the pack from the side. And this was a move that was created by Haruhiko Nagisa from Japan, and I don't think it's ever been in print in English. You're stealing these off the back, which is a very standard type of steal, and it's just as you're squaring them, you steal them off like this. And you push off one card and flick it over like this. And you reach and take that card on the face of the cards in the right hand and fan the pack. But as you do, the left finger buckles the bottom card and takes it, and you steal that packet off. So it happens as you do this production, you're stealing it off like that. and you're turning, and I'm going to expose this, you're turning and grabbing that in a lateral palm display as you show that single card, and as you grab it, you add it to the top of the stack and immediately do a one-hand fan. Let me do it from the audience perspective, and I'll talk you through it as it happens. You have the cards here. As you transfer it from hand to hand, you do the steal of half the pack from the back. You flick off the one card, produce, buckle, take off that single card, steal, one-hand fan, and put the cards together. Okay? Now you're going to go into a series of one-hand fans, and there's a lot of good manuscripts and videotapes out on great card manipulation. And so you're doing a single one-hand reverse fan in the right hand, a single reverse fan in the left hand. Now you have to turn them over so you get the other two colors of the fan deck. Reverse fan in the right hand, reverse fan in the left hand. Let me see if I can just show you a close-up of the finger positions. Your fingers are curled on the face of the deck, and the rear of it looks like this. And all you're doing is you're straightening those fingers out and bringing the cards around. It's kind of tough to do in slow motion, but I'll try to do it here so you can see it. Okay? So you've done your four colors. Now you close the pack and turn it to the front again. And this time you do a two-handed reversed fan. But you want to keep a stock of cards up here because you're going to do another Haruhiko Nagisa move. When you turn here, you're going to close the fan with one hand, and I'll show you that from the back. Just looks like that. Okay. You close the fan with one hand, but notice the position it's in. It's cocked right here within the crook of the thumb and index finger. And what's going to happen now is you're going to bring your thumb back and you're going to divide the pack approximately in half. Approximately in half. And you're going to come forward and just fan that half, keeping these secreted in this position. But it happens pretty quickly, and it's a pretty deceptive move if done quickly with the proper misdirection. You close the fan here. Let me do that again. That was not a very good closure. You close the fan here. It's here. You steal it as you come over here. Look here, and now you come out and do another fan here. And you put these cards all together. And now you're going to get ready to go into the ball routine. I'm going to do this part first and then show you the setup on the ball. In essence, what you're going to do again is do that same steal from the back as you come over here. And again, that's from here like this. As you do a one-handed fan, one-handed reverse fan, you show it here. Now, these cards are going to be held in this position. You're making a C. And you're just coming up and grabbing, and then producing the fan. Okay? So let me do that again in motion for you. Put these together. We don't want the colors to get mixed up. You do your steal, the one-handed fan, come over here, you look over here, grab, produce. And now you use these cards to close this fan, which gives you a nice continuing action for your steal, the standard steal, to do your vanish. I'll do that from this side so you can see it. You're grabbing the cards right with the ring finger and the middle finger as you do this. Now, before we go further on this, because this is a continuing action, let me show you the setup on the ball. You have a single Fekini ball, and you have two choices. You can either have it inside of a standard ball clip. This is a real classic style. This is the newer style ball clip that's made by Fabric Manipulation. These are great ball clips. You have this hanging under your jacket in this position. It's actually better to have it attached to your pants because it prevents the jacket from pulling when you steal it. But many years ago, when I did a larger ball routine, I I discovered something. I had a ball holder break and I didn't know what to do. And I thought perhaps maybe I should put it in my pocket. And so, you know, when I need to do the steal, I could just grab it out of my pocket. Now, here, I don't know if you're seeing it, but there's that telltale flash. That is the elbow coming up. That's a real telltale flash because that can be seen from the side, this side over here. So I thought it might be better if I could stick it in my rear pocket. And when I did, I noticed that it stopped because my wallet was in the way. And I discovered something interesting with the wallet in the pocket. All I had to do was just grab it real quickly and it came right into perfect position. So the wallet prevented it from going all the way down in the pocket, and that became known as the Mark D'Souza patented bowl holder. And with the wood balls, if you're using wood balls, all you have to do is tap the pocket and it pops right out into your fingers. With the Fichinis, you have to go in and grab it and put it in position. So either way, the ball is in that position. So here we are back at having the vanish of the fan. You motion like this and toss. Now, normally I'm working on that side of the table, but because of the shooting conditions, I'm just going to bring this into view here, and we'll use this to dump the cards into. So you're clipped in this position. You drop these. You transfer this to a tenkai grip. As these drop into the hat, you reach over, and as you do to produce these, you reach back with the hand and steal the ball. And that goes into a classic palm position as you come up like this. And now you turn the hand up so the ball is hidden behind the cards. And what's happening here is this and this. Right? Here. And now you're going to do a move that is basically the Ross Bertram birdcage vanish without the ball. Let's put this here. The Ross Bertram birdcage vanish is this. So you're just pivoting these back into the palm like that. Okay, in a tossing motion. And that's a nice lead-in for the cards from the mouth if you ever want to do that. But in this case, we're going to turn the cards into a ball. This was inspired by a magician I saw in 1979 at FISM named Harry Thierry. He's a former Grand Prix winner under the name of DeSato, but this was his beautiful manipulation act. And he did a sequence where a single ball turned to a card, single card turned to a ball, and then back to a card. And that inspired this, but this is a totally different method than Harry's. And so you're here, you turn, do the birdcage move and toss the ball and catch it. And notice that the cards are in that deep palm position with that C motion, the C action. And so when you catch the ball and you turn, you wave it, and I'm going to do a no top vanish of the ball to transfer the ball into the cards. And I'm just going to catch the ball in my hand, which is resting here at my waist. It's 1, 2. On the third action, you come down, release the ball, and come up and produce the cards. Again, big motion covers the small motion. 1, 2, 3, like that. And you show the cards. And now you're going to go into a series of split fans and single card productions. And not my purpose to teach those on this tape. Again, there are plenty of DVDs out there that teach great card manipulations. I recommend Jeff McBride. You're doing your single, 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 and you end up with one card. And before you do the last card, though, I normally will do a front-back palm and then do a front into that clip position, so I produce the single card here. And now you're going to bring the ball over the card as the card goes into back palm. So it's here, and this is an idea from Tel Smit of Holland, which I learned back in the early 70s. You do that transformation, and as you toss this in the air, this action, the continuing action, you drop the card back into the chest or the hat with all the other cards. It melds in as you toss the ball in the air, roll down, drop it in like that. And that's the card and ball sequence. I'm going to show you how to make the gimmick for the card case changing to the card for the card ball manipulation routine. This is what's known as an acrobatic card. And you need a bunch of things. First, you're going to need 2 of your fanning cards, one of which is cut in half. I just did it very quickly with a pair of scissors. It doesn't have to be that precise. They don't see it for all that long. And you need a card case. Now, because the most fanning cards are bridge size, I use a bridge size pack, Fox Lake, of course. And you're going to cut the face of one of those in half. You're going to round the corners, and you're going to peel it like you dry split a card to do card splitting. But in this case, it peels away because it's just cardboard very easily. So you got a very thin surface here to work with. You're also going to need a few other things. You're going to need some permanent glue tape, permanent glue adhesive. I used to make these with rubber cement, works just as easily. You're going to need some Scotch tape, and you're also going to need some dental dam. Now, this is the stuff that you use for that coin going through the piece of rubber. They come in big sheets like this, in gray or in white. I used to buy them in boxes from the dental supply companies, but the stuff goes bad very quickly, and you want to make sure you always use a fresh piece. And so now it's just the point where whenever I go to the dentist, I ask him for a few sheets of dental dam, and he asks no questions. So now basically to assemble this, and I'm going to show you how it's assembled before I actually do all the gluing, you're going to anchor the rubber strip on this side over here, and that's going to get covered with this. So that anchors it in a permanent position. The flap, the moving flap on the one side, is going to have this, and on the other side is going to have this. So the easiest thing to do is to create your flap first. And to do that, I use the most solid surface, which is the back side of this card. And you're going to just run your adhesive tape. And I'm going to do this pretty quickly. If it doesn't turn out great, you'll have to forgive me. And you're going to put your piece of rubber here. Now, I actually anchor that in place with a piece of Scotch tape. But you want it pretty close to the edge. You want some flexibility to be maintained in that rubber. So you want to have a pretty good gap there. And now on the other side of that, you're going to put the other side of your card box. Okay, so that would be this side over here. And to do that, you would again use the glue strip. And again, I'm not going to be as precise as I really should. But you're going to put this, if this is anchored here, this is when this flap is cocked, you're going to want to have your card box like this. Okay? Now, you're going to adhere it over here. That means you want to put a glue strip here on the card. And then you're going to put the rubber. But you're not going to line it up exactly. You're going to want to have it off center because that's going to create some tension in it to cause the spring flap to actuate. And so you actually are going to bring it to about here. Sorry, this side. About here. Just like this. And you're going to put a piece of tape to help anchor it here. Just like this. I'll trim that up in just a moment. Just use my scissors and trim that up. And now, this will leave this in a position with some tension to it. And so when this is actually a little more than I should have. There's not quite enough give here. But what happens when you create your anchor, I'm just going to peel that off quickly and do it again. It shouldn't be offset quite that much. And you really need to experiment with this to see how it best works for you. That probably is a little better amount. Yeah, that's certainly a little bit better. And you're going to put this piece here, and that kind of anchors everything. And again, you're going to utilize the glue strip to do that. And so when that's actually anchored in place, it's kind of difficult working with this sticky stuff. this here and this here, and that's kind of what it looks like when you put it all together. Now again, I've got too much tension here. And the best way to set this is to just keep this on top like this and press everything home, because that's the position you want. You're going to have to trim your edges up. And then the final thing you're going to do is put your card box flap right here, just like that. And that gives you the completed gaff that you need. And when you let go, that springs over just like that, and it holds in place pretty decently. And this glue tape, the glue strips work remarkably well. And so all you have to do is this, and you've got a card case that turns to a card on a fanning deck. If you want to go ahead and try making your acrobatic cards this way, go ahead. Okay. There's guys out there making acrobatic cards, but it's always fun to try it out yourself, so have fun with it, and that's the gaff for the opening of the card and ball routine.